Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome to the Tuesday evening cast of Primetime Local News. Abby St. John, along with myself, Josh Ryan. News, weather, sports, and more coming up over the next hour. And then the second hour, of course, of cast. Of course, it's a new day for many Canadians across the country, a Liberal minority government. Last night, over 150 seats, the Conservatives just over 120. And there were more than a few surprising tidbits throughout the evening.
Yeah, there was a few, just to name some. The Bloc getting a lot more seats than
Indeed.
they even expected. I know everyone was kind of thinking that it was going to end in a minority government. Who the government was going to be was up in the air, but there was definitely, NDP didn't get as many seats as a lot of people were expecting, so a lot of weird things happened during the election.
And especially some people who lost their seats. I'm sure we'll get into that as the show goes. Remember, if you guys want to chime in, our question of the day is, what was the most surprising part of the night for you? Chime in on Facebook, Twitter, and more. And for now, let's go to Eric Bay, who was on location earlier.
Thanks, guys. Well, today there's definitely a bit of bite to that wind, and that temperature has been starting to drop. So, definitely winter is on its way, and with that comes flu season. So today we are here at the Co-op Pharmacy, and we're going to be taking a look at the flu shot, everything that you do need to know as we do get into that flu season, that home stretch where people are starting to get a little more sick. And today is the second day they have been offering the flu shot here in Lloydminster. So again, we're getting all that info throughout this show, what you need to know, who should be getting it, and when to get it. But before that, we're going to head back into the studio and have a look at your local news.
Thanks, Eric. Well, we begin tonight with news of hundreds of jobs believed to be lost as Husky, the Canadian energy giant, begins to make cuts to its workforce. Sources say the majority of cuts affected workers in Calgary, but the company would not confirm exactly how many jobs will go. There are reports of layoffs in the Lloydminster and Bonnyville areas. Husky says the decision is part of a wider move to better align the organization with its capital plan and strategy. For months now, the company has been reducing capital spending as the country's energy sector comes under increasing pressure. While the Liberal government won the most seats, the Conservatives saw a clean sweep in Saskatchewan, including the Battleford's Lloydminster riding. Josh Ryan has more on the reaction last night.
A packed house with plenty of hope for a new government quickly became muted after a Liberal minority was announced.
Where does the guy start? We tried.
Well, I kind of thought it was a bit unfair what actually happened out. How the Conservatives have more votes than the Liberals did, so.
I think I'm disappointed. I'm hoping that maybe we will see a change with the minority government and that they will listen to people across Canada, because I really don't feel that the West's voice is being heard. And I just really feel that we're a divided country right now, and that makes me sad.
The consolation for those in attendance was seeing MP Rosemarie Falk maintain her seat in Parliament with more than 75% of the vote.
It's great that, I'm going to be able to go back to Ottawa and represent the people of Battleford's Lloydminster. We're going to continue to fight for small businesses, for our farmers, for oil and gas workers, and also fight for lower taxes.
That did soften the mood for many who were hoping for a change at the federal level, but are satisfied with continuity in their region.
That's the kind of people we want out west here, is those positive people that can see where her constituency wants to go. She's raising a family. She just had a brand new baby. Same story.
It's always nice to have someone in your area win, because then you feel like you have someone there that's to speak for you. And I think that they both have experience, and that's going to serve us well moving forward.
The next couple of days for Falk and her team consists of cleanup and thank yous.
I had a lot of volunteers that came out who, wanted to make a difference, wanted to be able to be part of the whole electoral process, and it was great to see how many people actually wanted to come out and do that.
And for her supporters, some cautious hope that change is still coming down the road.
Almost all their votes were Conservative, so I think Saskatchewan itself and Alberta itself, we did our part, so.
The Conservatives will have a strong opposition, and hopefully that will push some things in the direction we need things to push.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local News.
Third-time Liberal candidate Larry Ingram finished third in the Battleford's Lloydminster riding. Eric Bay has more from Ingram on election night.
Voters across Battleford's Lloydminster cast their ballots yesterday to decide who will represent their best interests in Parliament. Larry Ingram wasn't elected, but he acknowledges he was in an uphill battle from the start.
We are in the fifth best held riding, conservative riding in Canada. And the people here continue to vote as they've been voting for the last couple generations, and they will continue to vote that way until they quit voting that way.
While Ingram didn't see much personal success on election night, the Liberal Party managed to pull out a minority federal government, one that Ingram believes will continue to move in the same direction.
I think that we will be moving forward as we've set that up. If it is a minority government, then the Trudeau Prime Minister and the Liberal Party will bring in a group that will make it so we keep moving forward on set that we've already set up on doing.
Running on a few key issues in his campaign, Ingram says any party that the Liberals are willing to cooperate with must put their focus on two major issues.
Definitely any minority government we get involved with is going to be pro-pipeline. The mental health, the one that I ran on, I would see where if we're going to be involved with a minority government, that other party would be very supportive of mental health and wellness and physical health and all of the support programs that the federal Liberal Party has put into place.
Despite the tough result on election night, Battleford's Lloydminster candidate Larry Ingram is proud of the campaign that he's run and is thankful for the help from his friends and family. And while he's not sure as to what his future does hold in politics, he is hopeful that the next government does focus on climate change in the next sitting. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here today at the Co-op Pharmacy, and today we are talking about the flu shot that has just rolled out here, and now Michelle Teasdale joins me. So first off, can you just tell us a little bit about the flu shot and kind of how it works?
Okay, so every year the government works with the company and they decide which vaccine is going to be best for that season. And so what they do is look at some of the flu viruses that are out there and try and pick the best combination of viruses within that vaccine that's going to protect the population. So it's kind of a guessing game, but they try and do their best guess for that year, that season coming up.
And then, so what is the importance of actually going out and getting your flu shot and being vaccinated?
So by getting the influenza vaccine, it just helps protect you and the people around you from getting influenza. So it's really important that even if you are a healthy person, that you might be around young children or elderly people that are a little bit higher risk than you might be. So we just encourage everybody to come and get that flu vaccine.
And now if people do want to get that flu vaccine, what's the process like and how can they do so?
So here at the Co-op, we just do it on a walk-in basis. So anybody interested in getting it from 5 years and up can come in. Basically, they just fill out a form and we can get them vaccinated right at that moment. So in general, we haven't had much of a wait. People are able to just come in and get it within, 15 minutes or so.
All right, thank you for this, and we're going to have some more from back here again, continuing to talk about the flu shot and what you need to know about it, going through flu season here this winter. But before that, we're going to head back into the studio.
Thanks, Eric. We're sitting at +4, and unfortunately, the cloudy conditions are going to continue. It should be fairly dreary in the border city over the next week, and it is going to get cooler as the week goes on as well. We have one brief warm-up period before we're heading into average winter temperatures very, very soon. Here's your record high from 1998, 21 degrees, and -11 once again, the record low from 2002. The wind starting to calm down a little bit from yesterday, where we were getting between 16 to 20 kilometers, but we'll get up to about 15 kilometers over various periods over the next couple of days, maybe even more. Plenty of cloud cover, again, as specified before. Outside chance of some precipitation, a little flurries in a few areas, particularly in the Lakeland areas, you can see, especially north by Lac La Biche. Current temperatures throughout the region: St. Paul at +1, Bonnyville at 3. It's also +1 in Lac La Biche, 7 in Edmonton, 3 in Vegreville. And on the Sask side, a little bit cooler, except for in Meadow Lake, where they're sitting at 6 degrees, 4 in St. Walburg, 3 in Medstone, and 3 also in Mackland. Now, a few other current temperatures to look at here. Again, Isla Cross at 4 degrees, Saskatoon sitting at 6, Mirnam 3 degrees, and they are experiencing a little bit of rain at the moment. Provost holding out at 4 degrees, but again, relatively cloudy in that area. Your school day forecast for tomorrow, 8 a.m. it should be about 0 degrees and a chance of some snowfall by then. +1 by recess, 2 by lunch, and that should remain the temperature when school is out a little later on in the afternoon. And while we are looking forward to a warm-up period later this week, 3 degrees and a low of 0 with a chance of some snowfall tomorrow, 5 degrees and -5 for the low on Thursday as the wind shifts to the southwest. It will be 12 or around 12 on Friday with a low of 0, but unfortunately things cooling right back down after that, well below seasonal averages. That's been your 3-day forecast. We have your 7-day and much more coming up on Primetime Local News.
Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back. Well, even though the Liberals won a minority government, the Conservatives won all but one riding in Alberta, a change from the 2015 election. The province now has a Conservative provincial government and most federal seats are now Conservative, including the Lakeland riding as Shannon Stubbs was re-elected for her second term. Our Jasmine King has more.
That was Shannon Stubbs, walking into her watch party on election night. Her friends and family were all gathered around in Two Hills to celebrate that Shannon had been re-elected in the Lakeland riding.
I'm really grateful and honored that the people of Lakeland have put their trust and their confidence in me a second time to go to Ottawa and fight for them. I think they've given a very strong message to Justin Trudeau and the Liberals tonight. So I hear my marching orders from the people of Lakeland loud and clear, which is to go to Ottawa, to fight for them, to kick butt and to work hard just like I did every day for the last 4 years.
Stubbs wants to continue working and fighting for the things she has been doing in Ottawa for the past 4 years, while most importantly helping the people in the Lakeland riding.
I just want to demonstrate to the people of Lakeland that I have their backs and that I will go to work every day fighting for them, their families, their small businesses, and their communities. You know, the Conservative Party is the only party in the House of Commons that is that will fight for pipelines, that will fight for oil and gas jobs, that will fight for farmers, that will fight for rural Canadians.
Stubbs says even though the result of the election isn't what herself and the Conservative Party was hoping for, they won't be backing down anytime soon.
We will be pressuring the Justin Trudeau and the Liberals to be fiscally responsible, to have a government that lives within its means, to reduce taxes, stop taking money away from Canadians, from their businesses, their families, to reduce red tape, to champion Canadian energy, to champion rural Canada, to champion Canadian producers.
Getting to commemorate her re-election with friends, family, and supporters means a lot to Stubbs, as they were one of the reasons that she could get re-elected.
You know, Lakeland is the 7th biggest riding geographically in Canada, and we've just, over the years, built this team in every corner of the riding that they spend countless hours driving all over the place, door knocking, putting up signs, you know, taking people to the polls to vote, getting their friends and family to do the same, and that's very overwhelming.
Stubbs says that since she was first elected in 2015, she's known that the Lakeland riding is one of the most important in Canada, and she's glad that she's the one that gets to represent it. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
Conservative candidate David Yurdiga was re-elected once again in the Fort McMurray Cold Lake riding, and our Justin Marshall has the story.
Thanks, guys. I'm here at the Lakeland Inn with re-elected Conservative candidate Mr. David Yurdiga for Fort McMurray, Cold Lake, and Lac La Biche. Now, David, right now you're at 80% of the vote. That increased from your 2015 numbers of 60%. How do you feel?
I feel excited. I'm so thankful that people put their X on beside my name. Really appreciate it. It gives me a strong mandate to continue to do what I'm doing and actually doing more. in the future.
Are you concerned with the current results, having the Liberals as a minority government with so much uncertainty around the oil and gas industry, which is Fort McMurray, Lac La Biche, Cold Lake's bread and butter?
Yeah, it's a big concern. Obviously, I was hoping for a Conservative majority so we could repeal Bill C-69 and C-48 and actually create a energy corridor so we don't have to go through the process over and over again. With a Liberal minority, probably propped up by the Greens or the NDP, it's going to be a big challenge. Obviously, to get the Liberal support get the Greens support from the Liberals, that means some of the pipeline issues will get worse.
David, what can you do to fight back?
Well, we got to put pressure on the government. We got to do what we got to do, and I don't know how that's going to look like, but we're going to work together as a team, work with other MPs and other parties to inform them or educate them on how important oil and gases are to our region. You can't take something away and not put something back in. So we're going to be pushing very hard to ensure that Alberta is not overlooked.
Thanks so much for joining me, David.
Well, thank you so much for having me online.
All right, guys. David Yerdaga re-elected in Fort McMurray, Cold Lake, and the Lac La Biche riding. We'll send it back to you guys in studio.
Now we're going to take a look at your stock market prices.
First General Services. When you require prompt emergency service, the first F word that should come to your mind should be First General Services.
Welcome back. Well, members of the Ponoka Community Growing Project in Alberta say they don't dare keep their canola crop for the Canadian Food Grains Bank in the field any longer. Project coordinator Peter Dorenball says harvesting at the 150-acre canola field is set for this afternoon, weather permitting. Dorenball says it's been a crazy year for weather and the harvest was already delayed by about 2 weeks because farmers were still busy clearing their own fields. The Canadian Food Grains Bank is a Christian-based organization based out of Winnipeg that provides international food assistance. Money raised from the crop is matched 4-to-1 by the federal government. Now we're going to take a look at your egg prices.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
The Bobcats have seen a lot of change since head coach Nigel Dubé stepped in late last November. Our Evan Kenny discusses the newest moves in this week's Beyond the Boards.
If it feels like you're watching a new group of player each week the Bobcats play, it's because it's true. Well, maybe not exactly every week.
We still have the core there of what we're looking to build around, and for our guys, it's just to get into it right away.
Defenseman Riley Hogan moving to Calgary is the 5th trade for the Cats since the opening of the season.
Yeah, obviously we haven't had the start that we've been looking for, and junior hockey's a business, and we got to do what's right for our team, and yeah, got to shake the lineup up a little bit.
Since last season's trade deadline, the Bobcats have made the most trades, 15, with 5 of them being completions of previous trades. Dubé is no stranger to trades, but not just as a coach.
You know, you look for the group around you to welcome, and I think our guys have done a good job with that. The time I was traded, it was a very welcoming group and a welcoming room, and that's a big thing. You watch, you know, NHL trades and stuff, and they talk about the group welcoming guys in and the brotherhood there, and I think early on you see our guys stand up for each other and do those things.
The most recent pickup through trade, Brennan Morrow, hasn't played a game yet with his new squad.
Yeah, I've liked it so far. I just moved in yesterday and my billet seemed pretty nice, so yeah, everything's been pretty smooth sailing so far. They're really hardworking. I think they're a lot better than what our record says, and I think we're going to turn some heads pretty soon.
Another pickup by the team, Lloydminster native Jackson Kaluski. Kaluski played his way through the Lloydminster minor hockey program, including winning a BAM AAA and Midget AAA league title before graduating to the WHL. He split time between the Moose Jaw Warriors and Seattle Thunderbirds. Already, Kaluski has a goal in only 2 games with his hometown team. You can see all the new additions when the Bobcats host the Fort McMurray Oil Barons this weekend. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Beyond the Boards is brought to you by City Center Auto Body. For over 35 years, City Center Auto Body has been your go-to auto body shop.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who was on location today.
Once again, we are back here today at the Co-op Pharmacy, and today we are taking a look at the flu shot and what you need to know here as we do start to enter flu season. And now Michelle Teasdale joins me. And so first off for this segment, what's kind of the difference, I guess, if you were to come and get the flu shot here at the pharmacy rather than, say, at the free flu clinic?
So the benefit with getting it at a pharmacy is there's a lot of time that you can get it. So anywhere during the open hours of the pharmacy. So it's a little bit more flexible than going to public health, which only has certain clinic hours that they're able to provide that vaccine. The other benefit with coming here is that we do have private consultation rooms. So we do all of our vaccinations within the rooms. It's just a little bit more private, more one-on-one conversation can happen. So that's just something that's a little bit different than what you'd get at public health.
And now we did mention the last segment there how everybody should be getting this flu shot, but is there any maybe particular person who maybe is more susceptible and should get the flu shot, more should definitely get the flu shot?
Yeah, for sure. So there definitely are people that are higher risk. So children are higher risk for getting the flu, and then elderly, so people above 65, also a little bit higher risk. We also see some risk with patients with certain medical conditions, so heart disease, diabetes, things like that. Also airway disease, so anybody that has asthma or COPD, those people are very high risk and so should definitely think about getting vaccinated.
And now we are just starting to enter the flu season. You guys have just started to provide the flu shot, but is there any, I guess, maybe specific time frame where people should be getting it just right away or any time kind of throughout the winter?
So they do provide the flu shot vaccination from now until March, but definitely through October, November, December is maybe where we see higher rates of flu happening. So I would encourage people to get it as soon as possible. That way they've got it. It's going to protect them for the long period through the winter.
All right, thank you for this, and we are going to have some more from back here again at the Co-op Pharmacy, continuing with the flu shot, everything you do need to know as we do get into that colder weather and start to enter flu season. But before we do get to that, we're going to head back into the studio.
Thanks again, Eric. A quick look at your next 24 hours here. As you can see, plenty of cloud cover currently in the region, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Low pressure system making its way from out of BC, and as a result, we could see some snowfall in the next couple of days on and off. We're not expecting heavy snowfall, but we also weren't expecting heavy rain earlier in September, and that still came anyway. So be prepared for plenty of cloud cover, not a lot of sunlight, unfortunately, forthcoming in the border city and surrounding area. Edmonton, in fact, having a little bit of rain at the moment, 7 degrees the temperature there. Vancouver, it's finally stopped raining, but it's cloudy there as well, 12 degrees the current temperature. Regina sitting at 5, Winnipeg at 3, Toronto 15 degrees, 10 in Quebec City, also some rain, Halifax 8 degrees, and plenty of cloud cover there. Now a few current temperatures across both Alberta and Saskatchewan. Red Deer sitting at 8 degrees, 6 in Edson, as well as in Jasper. We go on to the Sask side, it's a little bit cooler, 4 degrees in Prince Albert, 2 in Melfort, and 5 in Saskatoon. And things, again, aren't going to warm up immediately tomorrow. We could get one very warm day later this week, but expecting a lot of 3s tomorrow in areas like St. Paul, Bonnyville, Lac-La-Biche, Vegreville, Vermilion, Provost. Amongst those groups, Macklin +3, St. Walburg +4, same in Meadow Lake and Green Lake. Isla Crosse even sitting at 4. So not a lot of warm areas in the Lakeland or Midwest regions, unfortunately. North Battleford right now at 5 degrees. They could get to +5 tomorrow, but they're also looking at some potential snowfall. Wind shifting from the southeast to the northeast by tomorrow, and it should calm down, but people won't care about that much if they start seeing some white snowflakes coming down as well. -2 for the overnight low before we get to that high of +5 in North Battleford. Cold Lake sitting at 4 degrees, also dropping to 0 overnight, then back up to +4 tomorrow. Chance of snowfall overnight, about a 35% chance at the moment, and then it could continue on through to tomorrow. The wind shifting from the east to the northwest and should pick up as well, so it should get at least into the double-digit speeds for coming out of the northwest. 4 degrees in Lloydminster, a low of 0, and they'll only get up to +3 tomorrow. Again, a chance of some flurries overnight. We're expecting some for sure tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see just how many centimeters of snow do end up coming down. Shifting from the southeast to the northwest once again, it might be a slight pickup in speeds, but we're not expecting 25-kilometer gusts. And to finish off with your 7-day forecast, 5 degrees on Thursday, a low of -5 expected there. Friday should be warm. We're looking at 12 and a low of 0, but then it'll immediately cool down again, along with the chance of flurries on Saturday and some strong northwestern winds. -1 the temperature there. Then Sunday -2, -5 on Monday, and -2 on Tuesday. And the lows are getting increasingly cooler as the 7 days go on. That's it for your 7-day forecast. Moving on to commercials and then your question of the day.
Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back. Well, we continue with the local federal election winners from last night, and now we take a look at Marcella Peterson, who gave a good fight for the Battleford's Lloydminster side, a woman who continues to stand up for the people in community. Our Braden Chernichen reports.
People have a better chance of getting programs and projects that help the people.
Marcella Peterson launched her campaign with the goals of keeping her people happy. Spending most of her time growing up on the Battleford side, Peterson really got to connect with the individuals of her area.
Oh, talking to the people. Yeah, it was great to see how people were living and hearing their stories.
When speaking with some of Peterson's supporters, they shared how proud they are to be an NDP when they get to see someone like Marcella hard at work.
I've got to see the hard work that Marcella has put in. I know it's hard work, but to see that she's been as many places as she possibly could be, talking to as many people as she can possibly talk to.
Marcella was an excellent candidate, and I've worked with a lot of candidates. She was just dedicated. She visited communities up and down the riding, was in the First Nations, was in the small towns, was in the cities. So we could not have asked for a better candidate this time around.
Peterson was also grateful to her volunteer team, saying that her budget of pennies was used to its full extent with a great group.
In terms of your supporters and your volunteers, I mean, without them, they're at the heart of it. And that's what our campaign was. We were in it for you, and we were at the heart of that was our concern.
With the re-election of the Liberal government, Peterson states that she would like to see Trudeau spend more time with people. Braden Chernichen, Primetime Local News.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Today we are here at the Co-op Pharmacy, and we have been taking a look at the flu shot, which has just started to become available here in Lloydminster, and Michelle Teasdale joins me once again. And now you guys are offering the flu shot, but you're also offering checkups on other vaccinations as well. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So this year we decided to really focus on not only providing patients with the flu shot that are coming in, but also just checking up to make sure they're up to date on some of their other vaccinations. So pneumonia, tetanus, shingles, some of those things are ones we're looking at, and just providing that opportunity to get them at the same time as the flu shot, if possible.
And now this is your guys' second day here now this season providing the flu shots. What's, I guess, the response been like? How are you seeing quite a few people coming in for their shot?
Yeah, definitely quite busy. We've had a really good day yesterday, and it seems to be the same today. Oftentimes that first week is very busy, and then it starts to peter out a little bit, but we're definitely, I think, ahead of the game as compared to last year. So that's good news, means more people are getting that flu shot, seeing the benefit to it. So that's good for us and just for health in general. So.
And now you mentioned a little bit better so far compared to last year, but over the last few years, I guess, are you seeing an increase in people getting that flu shot as, I guess, awareness has kind of risen?
Yep, and I think part of it be two parts to it. So I think the awareness of why it's important, but also this is fairly new for pharmacies to be able to provide this service. So each year it just gets better and better because of that flexibility. People can come in anytime. So I think that's really makes things a little bit easier. Less people are needing to go to the public health clinics. They're coming to pharmacies. So we're definitely seeing more and more every year, which is good.
And now, once again, if people may have missed it earlier, just what's the importance again of getting that flu shot here and helping protect themselves over the winter?
Yeah, so I think, like I mentioned, people that are high risk, so people with medical conditions, airway disease, young children, elderly. But I think it's just a good reminder that you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting those around you. So if you have grandchildren, if you have infants in your home, you've got elderly people that you're visiting at a care home, it's really important that even though you might be healthy, you're protecting yourself so that you're protecting the others around you.
All right, thank you for this, and we are going to have some more from back here again, continuing with the flu shot, but before that, we're going to head back into the studio.
Our question of the day, of course, we have to talk about the election one last time before we get back to normal life, I guess. And of course, what was the most surprising moment, result, thing that happened over the course of the evening? And there were more than a few. Obviously, Maxime Bernier losing his seat was a surprise to some. Jody Wilson-Raybould, who we've talked about off cameras, a big win for her as an independent. And some people just simply, as you kind of alluded to, weren't expecting the Liberals to win. They're expecting a Conservative minority.
Yeah, the going in, people kind of had that idea, yeah, okay, it's going to be a minority government. But a lot of what I've read and heard was that it was going to be a Conservative minority government, but it ended up being the Liberal minority. And another surprising thing was that the NDP didn't get as many seats as people were expecting, and even the Bloc got more, and the Bloc were surprised at how many seats that they got as well.
Which is interesting because that didn't really affect the Liberals at all. It might have hurt the Conservatives more, as the Bloc basically dominated their province.
Yeah, exactly, which was kind of to be expected.
Yeah, it would have been even more surprising if they had gotten seats outside of Quebecois, of course. Let's go quickly to our pets of the day and roll through them, and we'll start off with Jake.
Very adorable, and I love the people name for him, very cute.
And Cora is next.
Enjoying the outdoors, super adorable.
Micah.
Half in the sun, half out. Can't really decide which, if he's hot or cold, but very cute.
And we have a weird tan. Abraham is up next.
Love the name, love the pig, super adorable, very cute.
And we'll end with Bem Bem.
Love the name again, very unique, and looks like the cat has had a long day.
Yeah, certainly. Remember, we need that pic and the name to have a shot for you to win a free gift card.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Inside the CPCA, brought to you by the Canadian Professional Chuckwagon Association.
And welcome to Inside the CPCA. I'm Greg Buchanan along with Jamie Labakane. CPCA wrapping up their season off the track on Saturday with the awards night. And of course the invitations prior to that coming out for the Calgary Stampede. And Jamie Labakane is one of 11 CPCA drivers off to the greatest outdoor show on earth in July. That'll be trip number 8 on the track for you in Calgary come July.
Yeah, trip number 8 as a driver. I outrode for many years there as well, but yeah, it was great to get that call. We got it a little bit later than we have in past years. So when I finally got that call, it was a big relief.
What does the Calgary Stampede mean to the sport of chuckwagon racing and mean to drivers in the sport to get that invite?
Well, I always like to compare it to hockey or football or something. That'd be like the CFL losing the Grey Cup, or NHL losing the Stanley Cup. If you're not playing for the big championship, and that's what Calgary is, you know, you're not really playing for a whole lot. I'm not saying that, you know, our load finals and stuff, everything, but it would take a lot away from the sport, considering that, you know, the dash there is 100,000. If you win the aggregate, it's the truck. And not only that, it's just the prestige of winning that event. So it's the biggest thing in our sport.
And for yourself, how does things change for you during the off season when you get ready for the Calgary Stampede? As much as you get ready for 3 months, you also get ready for those big 10 days. And the work for those 10 days and work for the summer of racing really begins right now. It is already underway for many.
Oh yeah, like most guys have went out to the racetracks, Winnipeg, went down south to different racetracks, Vancouver, Toronto, different places like that. Picked up new horses, picked up new athletes to work in the mix, and already started breaking them. You know, hooking them with workhorses or other older, you know, seasoned thoroughbreds, and getting them ready for the next season, and then turning them out. And then after that, it's a lot of feeding and make sure they're happy, healthy, keeping them trimmed, everything. You know, the work just doesn't end at the end of the season. We take care of these animals all year round.
A lot of spring training goes in, and for many it doesn't start until March or April when the snow disappears. For yourself though, you have something unique, and you exercise your horses pretty well 12 months a year. Maybe explain to the viewing audience what you guys have in St. Walburg.
Well, you know, I invested in what's called an equicizer. It's an 80-foot circle basically, and in the center is a big tower with an electric motor and gearbox that has 6 arms going out, and I can exercise 6 horses at a time. They each got their lane in there, and they're each separated and not tied up. And I have a roof on it, and I can, you know, start as soon as I want. I usually don't start till the start of April, just because that's plenty enough time for them. I like to leave them out to be horses as long as they can. But when they come in, they're ready to train and they love it. They'll line up at the gate to get into that machine.
You finished 5th last year in the CPCA standings, 4 points out of 4th. If you were in that 4th spot, you'd be racing the Canadian Championship. I know those 4 points sometimes can keep a driver up at night.
Yeah, you know, it can, but I just had one of those years where I got rid of some horses, sold it to guys, some older stuff, and I brought in a lot of new stuff, and I really was working at getting this new stuff going, you know, and it really started to pay off at the end of the season, Greg. I had, you know, 3 or 4 really nice horses that are really going strong. I had a first-year left-hand leader that was really going well at the end of the year, and a couple of really nice wheel horses as well, another right-hand leader that's looking phenomenal. So the future looks bright, you know, and I took a chance, you know, and maybe it hurt me last season a little bit, but for the fact that I had so many horses working into that group, to be that close with those adversities, I thought it was a great season. The future looks bright, so I'm looking forward to next season and getting those horses, you know, another year seasoned and seeing what we can do with them.
So Jamie Labicane off to the Calgary Stampede for 8th time in his career, finishing 5th this past season to CPCA. That is for Inside the CPCA.
I'm Justin with Boom 1019 and 93.7 Hot FM, and here's what's happening. Catholic Social Services is putting on a spaghetti supper on November 2nd for a sign of hope. It's happening at Blessed Sacrament Church here in Wainwright. Doors at 5:30. Dinner will be served at 6. Tickets can be purchased at the door, $8 for adults, $5 for youth 6 to 17, and then kids 5 and younger eat for free. Red Cross Lifeguard course is happening November 8th to 12th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. here in Wainwright over at the Communiplex. Cost is $285 and registration can be made at the Communiplex pool office. Payment is due at time of registration. For more information on prerequisites or any other questions, please call the Communiplex at 780-842-5508. And just announced, Alan Doyle will be in Lloydminster on March 1st. Tickets for that show will be going on sale this Friday. And last but not least, the 2019 Father-Daughter Gala is happening in Vermilion this year on November 28th. There's going to be a 5:30 registration, 6 o'clock dinner with dance to follow. Early bird draw for that one is November 1st, and it is sponsored by Websport and Northsport. I'm Justin with Boom 1019 and 93.7 Hot FM, and that's what's happening.
Today I'm joined here with Becca from the SPCA, and she's brought in 5 adorable kittens from the same litter.
Yes.
Tell me just a little bit about these very adorable, rambunctious little kittens.
Yeah, they all came in with their mom, so none of them are spay-neutered yet, so they're not ready to go. But yeah, they all came in with mom, and mom was kind of overfeeding them and everything. I think she was sick of it, so she was a little growly and hissy, not hurting them or anything. But so we decided to separate them, so they're up on the floor now for that general viewing.
And we were talking a little bit, their names kind of coincide with Halloween.
Yes, yeah.
Tell me just a little bit about their names.
Yeah, so if I can remember them all, but a couple of them are, like mom is, her name, we named her Spooky. And then there's Feisty and Terrify and Scary and a couple other ones that I can't remember, but but yeah, try and go with the theme of the month anyway.
And they seem to be your typical cat, very playful, very
yes.
very playful.
Yes, yeah, especially that one, it seems.
Is that how they normally are? Typically all
yeah,
the time?
like I think like we just kind of when we generally put them down here, they were a little bit skittish at first, but as any kitten they're going to be a little timid to begin with.
Yeah.
But we threw a couple toys down and now they're having the time of their lives.
So how are they pretty well together as a group, or are they kind of good with all kinds of different cats from different litters?
I mean, I think like we don't really generally mix too much, but they're good together. You know, they play, fight, normal little kitten behaviors. And then like if you were to take one home and you have more cats at home, generally the kittens are normally pretty good, especially when they're this little. It's sometimes the older ones that don't appreciate the young blood in the house. But but yeah, I don't anticipate too much issues with these ones.
Now they're currently not up for adoption just yet. They still have to get their spay and neuter. But we were mentioning a little bit that people can still put down a request for them.
Yeah, so like we were saying, yeah, like you said, that these guys are up for the general viewing. So if anyone comes in and they're interested in this one, they can put their name on a list for them. So currently none of them have any holds on them, and so then that basically means they get first claim on these kittens. So that's really our general hope, is to get them adopted as soon as they're spay neutered. Oh goodness. and get them home sooner, so they're less time in the shelter, and then we have more room to put the next litter in, kind of thing.
And the SPCA has their cat brewery event on tonight.
Yes.
It was a pretty big success last time, so just want to mention what people can expect this time around.
Yeah, so I mean, like we're really just going to hang out. It's one of our more like just easygoing, laid back events, and I really enjoy it. We get to just go and hang out with people that want to come and play with the cats. It's nice for those people that maybe can't have cats at home too, so they can come and hang out and get their cat fixed. So it's always a really fun event, and I really enjoy this one.
So what are the details when people should show up, what times, and how many cats do you think will be at the event this time? Yeah,
so I think for sure, like last year we had 6, so I'm gonna like just our adoption event in the last week there, we don't have a lot left, but we do have 4 contenders for sure. And then we have these 3 older ones that they're not neutered yet, but they could be a potential as well too. So I'll try and have at least 4 or 5 there. And then, but yeah, it's just tonight from 4 to 9. So even tonight when you see this, it will, you'll still have that opportunity to go and hang out with the animals if you want to.
All right, well, thank you for bringing in these adorable kittens. They're super cute, and hopefully tonight is just as successful as last time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Pet Project is brought to you by Quick Pick Waste Disposal, Lloydminster's #1 waste and recycling hauler. Quick Pick is waste collection you can depend on.